Chapter 8. Stand up, be bold, be strong. Take the whole responsibility on your own shoulders and know that you are the creator of your own destiny. By Swami Vivekananda. The first breeze of success. The immediate challenge before us was how to cover the huge loss and how to recover the dues from the defaulter resellers. To compel them to return our money was as difficult as snatching the prey from a lion's mouth. Some of them were snappy and aggressive, but Baba was also equally hot-tempered and ready to take up a fight. I had a hunch that had Baba gone to collect the dues, quarrels would surely have had ensued. Therefore, I diplomatically kept Baba away from this mess and decided to handle the situation myself. When I approached the defaulters, they sized me up then and there and perhaps hatched a plan. They began making up excuses that they didn't have money at all. But I also had my counter strategy. I sympathized with them and offered them some more time. I started visiting them regularly with endless patience. I always ensured that I was polite and humble. That was the first time I experienced how crafty people act in business. Example, if someone was unwilling to pay the dues, he would have innumerable reasons for turning me away. Whenever I would go, whether it was early, late, or exactly on time, they would decline under any pretext they could think of. But I was not a half-boiled egg either. I had made up my mind to recover our hard-earned money from them at whatever cost. I began urging the defaulters to return the money in installments. I would also express my concern to them that without their cooperation, we would have to shut down the business. At last, my perseverance yielded some fruit. I was able to recover half of our dues within a few months and the rest after a year. This exercise really tested my endurance. Having learned a hard lesson, we decided not to trust strangers anymore. We closed the business with defaulter resellers forever. Faith and patience. Since Baba and I got some relief, we concentrated on stabilizing our business. I voluntarily accepted all responsibilities and buried myself in business. At this juncture, I met my first critic. There was a person working in our shop who would sarcastically ask me, "Sir, if you keep doing menial jobs, when will you learn the art of business?" This guy was from a community well known for their business skills and he had a habit of boasting. He would insult me by saying, "Trade is our domain and not your cup of tea." It made me irate, but I never gave him a sharp reply. In fact, I could have shut his mouth by asking a simple question. If your community is so successful in business, why on earth are you working in our shop? Later, he left his job and started a business, but failed. I learned two valuable lessons from his story. First, business is not a monopoly of any community. And second, faith and patience are extremely important aspects for succeeding in any work. Hard work and skills are never in vain. We had adopted a frugal lifestyle owing to our pressed economic condition. I couldn't even afford a bicycle, so I would deliver goods by walking to the customers' houses. Whenever I was sent to purchase spices from Dera, Dubai, I would often opt for an Abra, wooden boat, to save money. There was a flour mill near our shop owned by an elderly Bangladeshi trader. I would address him as Mullah Chacha, uncle. He was a kind-hearted and taciturn businessman. Besides the mill, he was involved in the wholesale spice trading business in Dera, Dubai. My father and Mullah Chacha were good friends. We would purchase some of our spices from him and also get our grains ground in his mill. Chacha was fond of me. He taught me to operate the machinery in the mill. He would always inspire me by saying, "Young man, always remember that hard work and skill are never in vain." Once, as usual, I had gone to Dera, Dubai to purchase spices. After my work was over, I dropped by Mullah Chacha's office. He greeted me smilingly and inquired about my purchases. While conversing, he informed me that a few days back he had received high-quality stock of red chili powder and insisted that I purchase at least a 40 kg bag. Since I had spent our entire budget in other purchases, I was about to decline his offer. Understanding my difficulty, Chacha patted my back and said with assurance, "Son, don't let go of good quality things. I will give you the bag on credit." I listened to his advice and carried the heavy bag on my shoulder. It was a boiling summer afternoon and the temperature was 45 degrees Celsius. The chili powder mixed with my sweat and my skin began burning. But I didn't care, and after walking 5 kilometers, finally brought the bag into the shop. Since the powder was of really excellent quality, the entire stock was sold in a fortnight, and I earned a handsome profit. The first profit after the loss brought a breeze of happiness and hope. The incident really inspired me to take up entrepreneurship seriously. Whenever I remembered the sacrifice made by I, my vow not to return home defeated and empty-handed would be even more cemented. I began working rigorously, devoting my time solely to business. After a penance of 3 years, we succeeded in establishing our business with a firm foot and our small shop started to earn a good profit. When I returned home after a long 3.5 years and handed over her cherished jewelry, even her precious Mangal Sutra, she embraced me affectionately and patted my head proudly. Both of us had tears in our eyes. When she caressed my cheek with love, it was the highest honor in the world for me. Business spreads its wings. When I returned to Dubai, my personality was completely transformed. Previously, I was only dreaming of wealth, but after 3.5 years of hard work, I was chasing my dreams systematically. I even acquired 2 more success tips. First, nothing is achieved without hard work and patience. And second, control over emotions and courtesy to customers results in immense growth in your business. Pure and quality products, polite and prompt service, catering to the needs of various communities under one roof made our shop popular among customers. The endorsement and word of mouth automatically brought name and fame to us. From the increased income, Baba thoughtfully acquired an upper floor 3 BHK flat on rent and kept subtenants in 2 rooms. This move yielded a double advantage as we got a comfortable shelter and an assured extra income too. He employed some workers in the shop and relieved me from doing menial activities. Our separate flat ensured that I could come and stay with us regularly. She began coming to Dubai every 3 months and spending a fortnight in our company. Since my younger brother Sanjay was still finishing his education in Mumbai, I would not stay for a long duration with us, but it was such a joy for me to eat food cooked by my mother, that too after a gap of 4 years. Walking alone. Business can be carried out by 3 ways: proprietorship, partnership, and cooperative. Each one has its own pros and cons. But I prefer the first one because we had experienced a breach of trust from partners in the early days of our business. By learning a lesson from it, we never opted for the third option. When our shop started yielding profit, we naturally thought of expanding the business. But to take that great leap, we did not have adequate capital. Hence, my father began searching for a business partner. His offer was attractive. The partner, without participating in the day-to-day functioning of business, was to obtain healthy returns on his investment. Very soon, we got a positive response from a wealthy South African Indian trader. We made an agreement with him and expanded the business. Our strategy and hard work proved successful and the profit increased. This made the partner jealous. He crafted a plan to take over the entire business. First, by breaching a clause in the agreement, he started interfering in the daily functioning. My father disliked this, and subsequently there was an argument. As a result, he unexpectedly broke the partnership and demanded his investment to be returned immediately, or else we had to sell the entire business to him. We were caught in a dilemma. My father was a determined and courageous person. He wasn't going to let the business slip out of his hands so easily. He decided to return the entire investment of the partner. He raised loans and borrowed money from his friends and ultimately escaped from the trap. We learned our lesson from this incident and never opted for any partnership again. Instead, we preferred to face our challenges alone. When my father handed over the responsibility of the business to me, I also followed in his footsteps. In Dubai, I had seen a classic example of how the differences and internal politics between partners had ruined a prosperous business. The company had been progressing well and the partners in fact trusted each other deeply. Once, a partner, under the insistence of his wife, employed his brother-in-law in the company, but that person acted traitorously. He first caused a rift among the workers and then started encouraging the groups to fight with each other. When the other partner came to know, there was a bitter conflict. Ultimately, their partnership broke and both decided to sell the company to a third party. An old proverb is worth remembering by the entrepreneurs. Better to be alone than in bad company. Baba retires from business. My younger brother Sanjay also joined us as soon as he finished his education. We three spent almost 3 years together. During his stay, Sanjay also learned the basics of business under Baba's tutelage. Meanwhile, Baba had purchased a warehouse in Al Quoz Industrial Area No. 3 for storing goods. He utilized that space to start his second grocery shop. He had thought of giving me and Sanjay a shop each and returning to India to spend his post-retirement life. With perfect planning and foresight, he divided his business equally among his sons. I got the retail business, whereas Sanjay got the wholesale business. To ensure that there would be no dispute between us, he had set a condition that we would run our respective businesses from separate locations. Thus, I settled in Dubai and my brother in the nearby Ajman city. Soon we started handling our independent responsibilities. Prior to his departure to India, Baba made a verbal agreement with me. He demanded that I should give him a fixed share of profit annually as a proprietor's right, and that too till his death. At first, I felt his demand to be very strange, but then I accepted the condition because he was right. Since he had invested his entire savings into the business, he was entitled to get his share as a return. Still, I was surprised by his enigmatic behavior, but didn't dare to ask him. Many years later, the mystery unfolded to me, but that is another story, and I will reveal it later in a separate chapter dedicated to my father. It was 1990 when I got the authority to run the shops independently. It simply meant that I had to take the decisions and also accountability for the same. My nature was not dashing and audacious like my father. Hence, I opted to proceed cautiously. Since childhood, I had experienced my fortune swinging rapidly between two ends, hope and disappointment, and this time I feared the latter. And I was right. Disaster was actually waiting for me around the corner. Opportunity seldom knocks twice. The word opportunism is often expressed with a negative tone and associated with selfishness. But I think it is the greatest virtue for a successful entrepreneur. Business is not charity and has to be done with the sole motive of profit. To earn profit, you must be prepared to wait for the opportunity at the right time, or at least make it work in your favor. I have learned this lesson from the disaster which came earlier than expected. On 2nd August 1990, when the Iraqi forces attacked Kuwait, a war broke out between Iraq and the rival international alliance. Since Dubai is a major international business hub of UAE, the fear of possible bomb attacks by Iraq gripped the Dubai citizens. The entire business world in Dubai came under severe pressure, and many businessmen thought it better to shift to other countries for shelter. But I was not in a position to leave the city quickly, as I had stored a huge consignment in my warehouses for the upcoming festival season. Soon a number of shops in Dubai closed their shutters. People preferred to stay at home rather than venturing outside. Actually, I was also scared internally, as the hustle and bustle in my shop was dissipating. After all, I was a small shopkeeper. How long could I survive the loss? I would have been devastated had the city faced an attack. The panic made me have sleepless nights. I was caught in a dilemma and could not decide whether to leave the city or not. But one day, I got my answer when I was watching a cricket match on TV. I saw the batsman of a surviving team playing with patience and accumulating more runs. He waited for the right ball and then hit for a boundary. A Hindi phrase, "Mauka dekh ke chauka marne ka." Wait for a chance and then hit boundary, popped in my mind. I decided not to leave the city and face the consequences patiently. Just then, the situation took a strange turn. People began buying and storing groceries and foodstuffs hastily. They were ready to pay any price for it. In fact, it was an enormous opportunity for any cunning trader to make a huge profit. But my conscience and honesty kept me away from choosing the path of temptation. Even in a war-like situation, I sold all the items at their regular market prices, finished all my consignments, and ordered fresh imports. When the situation quietened down, I earned not only a handsome profit and appreciation, but a strong trust from customers. I have never broken that trust until now, and I never will. A quote by Albert Einstein describes this situation. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. My wisdom and your money. Everyone sighed with relief when the Gulf War was over. Besides, another reason for my happiness was that I had earned a satisfying return. I kept that amount in a bank as a fixed deposit. The bank manager knew our Al Adil trading company. One day he called me and asked, "Sir, I am thankful to you for depositing your money with us. But unlike other businessmen, why haven't you immediately taken a loan against the deposit?" Generally, traders prefer this channel for business expansion or working capital provision. Why don't you follow them? Our bank will be happy to offer you a loan. I was a bit startled, as I had never taken any loan or borrowed money from elsewhere. So I tried to trot off his proposal at once and said, "I don't need any loan. I can manage my requirements from my reserves only." The manager realized that I had not yet learned the business tricks fully. He smilingly told me, "Sir, please take my advice. Loan is not as bad as you think. If you repay the installments on time and regularly, it really provides a flip to your business. You are a good businessman, but you also need to become a smart entrepreneur. Don't limit your business to a single shop. Expand it to other parts of the city." I was influenced by his advice and took a loan. Soon it felt like a burden. After 6 months, I went to the bank and told the manager, I want to wipe off the loan fully. He stared me for a few seconds and finally said, Sir, it seems that you have not used the loan amount to your benefit. Don't settle it hastily. Instead, start a new outlet. I enthusiastically found a rented space and started our second outlet. When it began yielding profit, I again took a loan to start a third outlet. In this process, I also learned how to negotiate and bargain for lower interest rates. I learned a trick which I would like to share with the new entrepreneurs. Business expansion is not a challenging task. You can grow by using your wisdom and others' money. Initially, I expanded my business with bank loans, but later I found a better and more secure way of saving from my own income. A penny saved is a penny earned. I wanted to expand the business, but I was rather reluctant to take bank loans for it. Then an incident took place that changed my entire perspective and inculcated the habit of saving in me. In those days, I would enjoy a cup of tea and some refreshments in a nearby restaurant every evening. One day I noticed that the restaurant owner had kept 2 tins under his cash counter. I asked him the reason, and he smilingly told me that they were meant for saving. Every day he drew 2 notes of 100 dirham each from the income and stored them aside in the tins. At the end of the month, each tin contained a pool of 3,000 dirham. He would use the money from the first tin to cover expenses like bills and wages, and the amount from the other tin would be his profit. The owner proudly told me that he had never needed to borrow once he started saving daily. Fascinated by the idea, I followed the same strategy in my shop. I even dared to save 500 dirham daily in both tins and resolved to open it only when the year ended. At the onset of the new year, I opened the tins. And wow! There was a massive 1.80 lakhs dirham in my hands. With that investment, I opened a new shop in Abu Dhabi. The next year, I had a whopping corpus of 3.60 lakhs dirham. From this amount, I opened my third shop in Sharjah. I continued to use this saving technique. When my savings reached 5.40 lakh dirham, I started a spice processing plant from the investment. Today, our Al Adil Group owns a chain of 43 super stores, 2 flour mills, and 2 spice factories. The magic of saving and compounding made it possible. There is an often used proverb, anyone can earn money, but it takes a wise man to keep it. So friends, I advise to you all to start saving from an early age. See how your money transforms into wealth and gives back to you. Journey towards entrepreneurship. Business expansion enabled my journey from a small shopkeeper to an entrepreneur. Another incident happened which led me to implement advanced technology in our processes. Once a lady complained to me that there was chaff in a pack of cumin seeds. Next time, there was chaff in a pack of fennel seeds. It was happening as a result of the commodities being handled without gloves. I wanted to avoid human contact right from grading to packaging to ensure the safety of the products. Incidentally, I visited an international food exhibition at that time. Global producers had exhibited the newest technologies which would avoid human interference in food delivery. It amazed me. I remembered my childhood. My mother never allowed anyone to enter her kitchen when she was busy cooking. She was very strict in her discipline. She would remind us to wash our hands and feet thoroughly when we entered the house. Once I asked her the reason, and she replied that it was for maintaining the cleanliness of the food. She believed that food nurtures the soul. I got inspiration from the memory and decided to invest in the latest technology. I implemented the latest machinery in my factories and modernized the brand. Later, we got many awards for quality. We transformed our shops into spacious superstores where the customers can pick the products themselves. Our Al Adil Group has always focused on delivering clean and safe products to customers. We have implemented state-of-the-art technology, adopted stringent international standards, and maintained the best hygienic practices. The most satisfying thing is that we have received zero complaints so far about product quality. A sapling grew into a tree. My father had started a tiny grocery shop in a rented space at Bur, Dubai in 1984. The little sapling has now grown into a huge tree named Al Adil Group. This enterprise has been instrumental in providing direct and indirect employment to hundreds of people. Today, this group encompasses a chain of 50 spacious superstores spread across Gulf countries, 2 modern spice factories, 2 flour mills, and an import-export company. Al Adil Trading Group has performed a key role in bringing more than 9,000 Indian products to UAE. The group also produces more than 700 products within categories like ready-made flours, spices, pickles, jams, namkeen, and instants under its own brand Peacock. Our group's Indian arm, Masalaking Exports Private Limited, is successfully operating from Mumbai. Al Adil Group is in active expansion mode and increasing its outlets in other Gulf countries. It has established special trade routes in USA, Canada, Kenya, Switzerland, Italy, Eritrea, Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. Recently, the headquarters of our group has been shifted to a spacious building located at Karama, a central part of Dubai. The office is equipped with all the modern amenities and technologies. It holds the capacity to accommodate 4 times the workforce than our current strength. The dream which my father and I saw together has at last come true after 38 years. Determination leads to success. The story behind the establishment of Masalaking Exports India Private Limited, our import-export arm operating from Mumbai, is quite interesting. Previously, we had given the responsibility of handling our export to an experienced trader. As the volume increased, it became difficult for him to fulfill our demands and supply the commodities on time. He began giving reasons and excuses for the delay. At last, I decided to look into these operations myself and requested the trader to discontinue. He sarcastically remarked that the import-export operations, including documentation and logistics, was a complicated task, and I probably wouldn't be able to handle it on my own. Insults and bitter experiences in early life have made my nature aggressive. When someone provokes me by saying, "You won't be able to do it," or "This is not your cup of tea," I take up the challenge immediately. I was determined to show the trader that even inexperienced people, if given a chance, could perform better. Thus, I floated a separate company and purposely hired an inexperienced workforce for the company and motivated them to learn the processes on their own. To my surprise, my new staff quickly grasped all the skills and established good contacts with the authorities. In the very first year, our company displayed a superb performance and the volume of our export crossed the set target in advance. This is the power of collective determination. Abraham Lincoln has aptly quoted, "Determine that the thing can and shall be done, and then we shall find the way."